So you guys did a whole episode on data and standards, and the industry loves to talk about data. But what are we getting right and what are we getting wrong about data and how to use it?
Well, what I think we're getting right about it is we're actually collecting it. And what I think we're getting wrong about it is we're actually not using it.
Yeah. So we're starting to use it. What I would say is we're not collaborating with the data.
Oh, yeah, you did mention that.
And so it's wrong. And that mentality is old school and it needs to go away tomorrow.
Clearly it's a competitive advantage is why people don't want to share data. So how does somebody overcome the fear of giving information to somebody else that might use it against them in the future, or perceive that they might use it against them in the future?
It's a perception, Joe. Yeah. So they're not giving away anything.
We went from Molly Ringwald to this, so this is pretty good transition.
You know what? It is
great transition.
It's a good transition for me. I'm going to be blackballed. Oh my God, John Conway's no longer allowed at NPA, no longer allowed at IPMI. No. So it's a perceived perception of insecurity of what I would say old school in our industry is, if I give that up or if I share that, I'm giving something away. You're not giving anything away.
Right.
It's ridiculous. And so, we're not up to speed where the rest of the world is at. And I said this before about sharing data. Right. So I'll share you all the data I want, what you do with that and whether you have the capability of doing. So we're doing stuff with data that I know other people don't have the capability. So I'm not afraid of sharing raw data with you, Dani, because I know
for a price.
Because I know you can't do what I do, right? You're going to take the data and do something different. I'm just using it as us three right now, right? So I'm sharing data with you guys. I'm taking the data and doing something that you guys can't do because I've focused on that part of it. You're doing something that I'm not interested in doing, but people are interested in it, obviously. And you're doing something completely different that I'm looking over going, I don't even have time to do that. Right. So, but if you look at it holistically, right, somebody wants all of what we're doing. And
definitely.
That's how I could boil it down in this one little conversation that we're having is get rid of the mindset, man. Just because I'm sharing the data doesn't mean somebody's coming out. And if they do, good for them.
To counter that as well.
I like competition. I think it's great.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying to counter that as well. Is there any reason why you wouldn't want to share data? Like, what are the reasons behind this is your space, John. This is your world. Data is what you do. Is there any reason why you wouldn't want to share data? Is there any reason why people are not wanting to share specific data?
No, I mean, the only reason why I wouldn't want to share data is, let me think. No, I have no reasons.
Okay.
I'll share data all day, every day. And I think it's so important for our industry. I think there's a question in our industry. There's some people that'll stamp their feet and say, well, this is my data. Well, maybe not. I developed the software to collect that data. And it's on your parking lot, but it's not your data.
I don't mean to hijack your show, Joe, but can I ask one more question? Is there anything that you would do with, like, if someone didn't want to share data,
they're going to be left behind.
Well, it's just hypothetically, you didn't want to share data. What would you do with that data if you weren't sharing it? To what advantage do you have having it to yourself than sharing it out with others?
That mindset is so closed-minded. I don't even know how to answer that, to be honest with you.
Do you think there's a difference between technology companies sharing data and operators sharing data? Because whether you like it or not, most technology companies, whether you sell online, have parks equipment, have enforcement, all have to work with each other, right? You have to integrate.
I know.
So that data is shared. That might not be the same way with operators.
So think of the operator mentality. Like, do you really think that you and I, if if we sat here today, so Dani operates the parking lot across the street. Do you really honestly think that you and I couldn't figure out what Dani's making on that parking lot?
Oh,
of course.
I mean, you guys
we do it in 2 seconds.
But the question is,
so what are you worried about?
Would Dani give you what she's really making? And
well, that's a different. I'm not suggesting sharing what her profit margin is. That's something different. I'm just talking about sharing raw data, and I think I think you bring up a good point. There's parking operators that think that. Well, I mean, if whoever's operating parking lots, if you think I couldn't go into your city and spend 2 days and I know exactly what your secrets. Well, no, not figure out your secrets. If Joe and I rented a car and went to Miami tomorrow, we could pretty much. Yeah, I'm going to just pick Miami.
Okay.
I know.
Apparently tomorrow we're driving all night.
We're driving. That's right.
We're going to have to run this by
Joe and I did when we grew.
You guys just rented cars and drove to Miami.
Joe, what did we do?
I don't think we've ever been to Miami together, but
no, we haven't. But we probably.
I mean, I'm open to it. That would be fun.
We were winning so much. Who's the person that says winning? Oh, I don't want to go there. But
let's.
Winning. We were winning so much, it was ridiculous. Like we got tired of winning, didn't we? Not really.
No one gets tired of winning.
It was hard.
No one gets tired of winning.
But if you think for a minute that Joe and I couldn't go into Miami tomorrow, rent a car, land at the airport, come out 5 days later and have performance on like 5 or 6 parking lots.
Oh, I fully believe that.
Within 5%, maybe 2%. You're nuts.
Dani can do that too, and maybe that's a good road trip podcast episode.
Yeah, I mean, you're nuts.
Hey, season 2, Miami. We're going to take this on the road.
Yeah, so I think some people think that that's a secret.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what is the secret? And I think is the secret sauce is your ability to have a profit margin, which I could I could bake through that too with your ACRs and all that crap that they do. I could burn through that pretty quickly.
Conway, I think you missed the punchline here. We're taking season 2 on the road.
Oh, okay.
Sprinter van.
Nice.
Seth in the back.
Seth, you ready?
Seth, you ready? He went on the road to Chicago, by the way. Thank you very much. Yeah. That was awesome. Right. You're going to be going on the road a lot because, I'm getting calls every day to take this show outside of parking. What do you think, Dani?
Let's do it.
You want to talk? You want to Joe Rogan?
You want to talk?
Sure. You want to Joe Rogan?
You want to talk anything? I think I can dabble.
Okay.
All right. Question. We're rolling with the questions here.
All right.
This is Joe's show.
I know.
This is the Joe show right now.
So you're talking about operators a lot. Is there anything you miss about being an operator? That's an evil laugh if I've ever heard one. You just need to be like petting a cat and turning your chair around slowly.
Honestly,
like a hairless
operators.
cat, like Dr. Evil.
No, my passion is operators, and I love operators because that's been most of my career. Do I want to ever? I mean,
is there like one piece that you miss?
I'd have to say some of the BOMA, Toby Award events.
So you miss the fun.
Well, I miss like the glamour. I miss the property manager. That property manager that's running around at the end of the night, who's probably had too many drinks, going, "Where's Conway's card?
Oh,
I need another drink."
I remember that.
Yeah. I need another drink.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't. Yeah. Not everybody was like that, but you do remember that.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. We know who that was.
There's a lot that I miss about the operator world, but specifically, I remember when I came over to when I was talking to Joe about coming over to OVG. I was like, man, I don't ever want to go into self-operating. Like, I don't want to go back into operations. And then I literally was in a lot last week for a few days taking payments with a handheld, and I really enjoyed it because I miss the customer, like the face-to-face interaction of like being able to explain to somebody why we are doing what we're doing, because I feel like I relate to them really well, right? Where
I would say there is one thing that I do miss, and I still have it, but it's in a different manner. So I miss the kill.
Yeah. Like winning the deal.
What I mean by the kill.
Winning.
What I mean by the kill is watching that sign every day, going, that's going to be my sign.
Oh, yeah.
And then closing that deal. And then the day, I would always be the guy that was out there with the sign company and watching the sign go up. Like, it was so fun for
but
me.
I thought you got tired of winning.
Keep the drill away from me.
Yeah.
But like the overhead logo signs and all that, like it was such a rush.
It's a good moment.
Yeah.
Right? It's a good
moment. It's such a rush to have your logo go up knowing your competitor just took theirs down.
Didn't you just say that you got tired of winning?
We did get tired of winning because we had to back it up. I know.
That's a part of winning.
We had to back it up with like people to do the job.
Yeah.
We struggled.
That's the part I miss the most.
I hate that.
The people and
see, that's the difference between. I think Joe's more of a hybrid than I was. He's a better operator than I was. Like from an operations standpoint, I could operate, but I want to sell. Fuck it, I'm going to sell.
Well, it gets back to the heist team.
Yeah.
The Ocean's 11.
Well, Joe, now you people who are listening might not know your theory about the heist team. I think I vaguely talked about it, but I didn't really mention the heist team.
We talked about it on one show.
We did, but we didn't mention the full heist team. So I want Joe to kind of go through his heist team theory.
So I think traditionally when people hire people, they try to find somebody that's similar to them. If I have been successful and I'm this way, then I should find somebody that can emulate what I did, and they'll also be successful. And I think it takes a while for you to figure out that if you have a whole bunch of the same people, it doesn't necessarily work well. So you think of a heist team, right? If you have 8 safecrackers, are you going to pull off a successful heist?
Nope.
Definitely not.
You need a driver. You need a guy on the computer saying, I'm in. You need the muscle. You need the planner. You need all of those components in order to have the heist be successful. And so, I try to be very self-aware of what I'm good at or not good at and my gaps and skill set, and hire people that are good at those things. Right. And that enjoy doing those things instead of trying to make everybody like me. Like, I want you to be like you. You're great at this. Let's lean into that. You're going to be happier. I'm going to be happier. And then we have a more well-rounded team than if it was just all safecrackers.
I am totally. So who had that mentality? Believe it or not, that we both share.
Well, somebody.
Yeah. I'll mention him because I love the guy and I have a lot of respect for him. But Chris Connolly had that.
Yeah.
So,
but for the right reasons, right? For very altruistic, I want to help you develop reasons. But I think even now he would say, John's a salesperson, right? Like, John shouldn't be writing contracts and doing process. Right. So when we all know that now, but I think it takes that realization to say, like, it's okay for someone to not to be overall well-rounded if they can play their part on the team. And, you could use sports analogies, you could use whatever, but no, your catcher is not shagging fly balls in center field.
Yeah.
Right.
There's some activities that I just, at Brand X, we had Concur.
Brand X.
I don't, you try not to mention names.
I like that. Brand X.
We're getting a lot of followers,
so I
have to be very
X,
careful
Operator
about.
X.
We have so many followers, I can't even believe it.
We have
to be
all the
honest
X's.
with you. So I have to be very careful about who we're mentioning, whatever, right? So, well, we all should. But anyway, I have a respect for everybody. But
yeah,
so we had a Concur, like the expense report system. It was brutal. It was brutal. Remember that, Joe?
I do remember.
So this is me. I complied, but I paid somebody to do because you could in Concur.
Did you hire your own heist team to make you look good?
Yeah. I did somebody that was really good at Concur, and I would just give her my envelope. I would give her my envelope of receipts.
Envelope of cash?
Of receipts.
Oh.
And she would do my expense report like that, and boom. And I gave her money every month, and I didn't have to deal with Concur. For those of you listening, and there's a lot of them, you know what Concur is. Yeah. I'm so sorry.
Everyone knows what Concur is.
Go ahead and hire somebody. I did it. $20 or an expense report. That's what I paid at the time. It's probably a little higher now, but
that's what we need.
Probably. Yeah, for $20.
Yeah, someone to do our expense reports.
Somebody's trying to bring us to Concur, and I'm fighting, screaming, and kicking.
Who's bringing you to move your own company to Concur?
Who do you think? My boss. getting back to knowing our strengths and weaknesses. I mean, I was going to be the CEO of this company, and so I was all slated to be that.
You know your strengths and you know your weaknesses.
Yep. And in Budapest, I stood up and said, "That's not me, man.
Yeah,
I'm not that guy. I'm a sales guy, not a process." And our company had a lot of process that needed to be. We had to build a lot of process. So proud of everything that's gone on. Not to, because I don't want to sit here. It isn't an infomercial, but
no,
it's just I'm just commenting on what Joe said. I'm not that guy.
You have an incredible team.
Yeah,
I
no
love
way.
working with your team.
Yeah,
I do love working with your team, and not to like toot our own horn over here, but Joe has hired also an incredible heist team. So I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah, he had that.
We need a few more members of our heist team, but we're working on that.
Oh, we're working on that.
He had that mentality. He did. Joe worked for me for a while, and I learned a lot from Joe.
We all learn a lot from Joe.
Joe was a better manager than I was, for sure.
But
Joe's not a manager. Joe's a leader.
Yeah, but you're a good hybrid for sure. Joe can sell and manage. That's pretty dangerous.
But think about the two major influences I had, you and Chris, right? So is there any wonder I'm a hybrid, right? Because I picked up things from both of you and ended up in the middle somewhere.
I was going to say Joe is his own heist team. Joe can play many and all parts.
Multiple personalities, maybe. Yeah,
Joe can do it all.
Yeah,
so
I remember
we're
Joe motivated a lot of people. People love working for Joe. I do remember that.
I'm raising my hand over here.
Well, I'm easily excitable, and apparently that it gets other
people. And you're
people
still
to
passionate about what you're doing, so that's important.
Embarrassingly so sometimes. Like the things I get excited about in parking is sometimes embarrassing, and I've used the phrase, "I'm sorry, I'm going to parking nerd out for a second," and then I share something super parking nerdy out, but it's been a fun ride.
But I think that's why people love you, right? Like there are so many people that I've heard say, no one knows more about parking than Joe Leung. Like many respectable people in our industry.
Dani says that all the time, but no one else.
No,
I'm just kidding.
No. I'm like, don't make me get multiple people on the phone right now. But a lot of people.
Well, let's talk about the industry and like the mark
Dani,
we have.
Just so before we go on to Joe's next question, you're invited to the NPA and the IPMI 2024 party.
Oh, thank you, John, because I don't get those invites. I never get them from you. So
all right. So talking about the industry and like that we work in, like, is there a mark that you want or something you want to be remembered for? Like when you're done, you hang up your 3-part tickets. And your valet vest.
3-part tickets.
Wow. Who remembers 3-part tickets?
Cigar box.
I don't even know what that is.
You hang it all up. Is there something that you got? Like, I hope the industry remembers me because of blank.
I think that for me, it is really creating a very safe space for women in parking.
Yeah. So how can we help with that? How can the industry help with that? Or like
by hiring more women leadership, right? Like we've.
So what are you going to do?
We've talked about this on.
So how are you going to step up and help that?
By hiring more women.
Yeah. And what else?
And speaking out about it.
Should you maybe use this podcast as an opportunity to do that?
I have.
Okay.
I have. And like I think that it was either our first, second, or third.
Season 2, because I've told many people that I think our show is committed to women in parking.
Absolutely.
For sure. So we should commit to several episodes a year of highlighting successful women. And
I absolutely agree.
So
I think you talked about it with Kendra when she was on.
We did.
And you look at the industry and you've got the Nicole Hankins and Laura Longsworth and
Angela Clark.
Yeah. And these like amazing women. And, we need more.
We do. We need more. And so that's what I want to be remembered for is really lifting women up in this industry, which is.
So I think Angela Clark is definitely going to be a guest, probably in season 2. I've already talked to her about it. Great story.
Angela Clark of Nationwide Parking.
Yeah, Nationwide Parking. She's a minority owned company and goes way back through her father. Yeah. But she's an amazing story.
It's the only women owned, minority women owned parking company in Colorado. Yeah,
so she actually didn't found the company. Her father did, who was an amazing man in himself.
Dr. Clark.
Dr. Clark. Oral surgeon. I mean, most people don't know this. He was an incredible dog trainer.
Really?
Yeah. And the bulldog, he was a bulldog trainer and won Westminster Abbey.
Wow.
And yeah. And so a lot of people wouldn't know
Westminster Abbey is a show, isn't it?
It is. And his dog won.
Oh,
the Westminster Dog Show.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. Westminster Abbey is like a church.
That's a TV
show.
I think that's a TV show.
No, it's Downtown Abbey.
Downtown Abbey.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. The Westminster Dog Show.
Got it.
Anyway,
that's so. What is your?
So
what do you want to be remembered for, John? I mean, I think everyone's going to have a hard time forgetting you, but what is it that you want to be remembered for? Aside from NASCAR.
Yeah, I don't know, helping the industry along the way here and there, subtly.
Yeah.
How do you want to do that? How do you want to help the industry?
I think I kind of have, in some ways. I don't know. I would like to think that maybe my contribution to the industry still hasn't been yet exposed, and hopefully I make some impression, before I call it quits.
I agree. So
is it bad to say I just heard John's going to expose himself to the industry? Or is that's not good? No.
That sounds like a presentation I did in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that story, Dani?
Please, no, I have not, and I don't know if I want to hear it.
It's a good one.
So, Brandon, I'll do it. 20,000.
You exposing yourself?
Well, no. I'll do it. I'll do it very quickly.
I don't know if I want to hear that.
I'll do it very quickly. It was when Brand X, we were rolling out all this stuff, cameras and things in parking garages and things. And so I was in this presentation and I said, we're going to touch people in places they've never been touched before in the parking garages. Of course, Chris Connolly has never let me live that down. So of
course not. Yeah. Wouldn't either.
But it was funny. The property managers were all looking at each other going,
Did he just touch
people in places they've never been touched before?
He wants to lure them into dark corners.
Literally,
the
whole
garages.
room started laughing.
Right. And then what did you do?
And
what did you do?
I just kept talking.
You repeated it.
I did.
Yeah, I'm sure. You're like, I will never.
Because maybe they didn't hear me the first time.
Well, he was like, I don't want people to forget what I just said.
Yeah. But what I meant was when you're on level 3, you can actually talk to somebody where you might not have been able to talk to a parking attendant before.
I'm sure you had really great intentions, John.
I did.
They just weren't well received.
I always have great intentions.
But Joe, I think that this is an important question for you too, because I think that you're a leader in the industry that everybody loves to follow. So what is it that you want people to remember about you? Like, what legacy are you?
I think for me, it's just like the day-to-day interactions, whether it's, whatever level person that I treated them as a person and that they had value and that, they have ideas that, I asked for their ideas and I helped get people,
so a good
promoted.
Leader.
I helped, develop them.
You want to be remembered for being a good leader.
Yeah.
That's what you just described.
I want to be remembered for helping people.
What I really think he wants to be remembered for, though, Dani, is Joe Leung.
So
what do you think,
episode
Joe?
10,
okay.
Right? So you guys are 10 episodes in. What's something you learned about each other that you didn't know before doing 10 episodes of a podcast together?
I didn't know Conway was so funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ah, there you go. Yeah.
I didn't know that that Dani struggled with kind of the woman thing in parking. That was when I had to listen to that episode 2 or 3 times. And and so I'd like to make that like I just said, that should be a mission for everybody in this industry, is to bring that forefront when that is not
right
something. And it was pretty eye-opening to not just me, but a lot of people. Like, I mean, when I deciphered, when you drill down what you said, and I might have interpreted it wrong, but you were intimidated about asking a question, and that should never be that, ever. And I'm not saying that was real in your mind, but that's how it came across to me. And I think actually that is real. And so that's the perception I have. So that's going to be a passion for me in season 2, is to change and stamp that shit out. So
Dani, with that comment that he didn't realize you were going through that, do you think it's safe to say that most, if not all, women have gone through that at some point in our industry and other industries? But
I think that's a great question. I don't want to speak for everybody else except for myself.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, I think that when you are the only woman at like 90% of the time sitting at the table, I think it's something that most women struggle with, right? It's you almost have it's not even a fear. It's like an anxiety of speaking up or saying something, or because it's an industry that is so dominated by, I've been at the table where I've gone to speak up and have been talked over, hushed. And it's something that you learn to overcome. Like, I don't want any woman in this industry to say that they've learned to deal with it. Right. I think it's something that you have to learn to overcome. When you are one of the only women at the table, I've learned to walk differently into a room. I've learned to speak differently into a room. The way that you walk into a room, I think, says a lot about you. Right. Whether you walk in with your head down, with your head up, like, people read who you are just by your posture. Right. And so there's all these little things that I have learned to really change the dynamic of. So
did you learn those things on your own?
Yeah.
Over time?
Over time, absolutely.
Do you think that's content that, when you talk about how you help? Absolutely. Right? But how do we get that content out to?
But it's not something that, like I do a lot of work on myself.
If you go back to the episode with Kendra, Kendra said basically the same thing. Yeah. So the question is, that is not something I would want females in my organization. When you walk into a room and you have something to say, you're saying it.
But when you walk into a room,
your opinion matters.
Yeah. So when you walk into a room, you don't want to.
How do we get that out? She's creating workarounds. Did you hear what she just said? She's creating workarounds because of an industry that's not quite there. Well, that's not right. So
because it's an industry that is
and good for you, by the way.
Yeah, it's an industry that's getting we're having to to mold to different ideologies, if you will.
It's very clear to me in the Kendra interview, the Kendra episode, in talking to other women. People are walking the walk, but they're not walking the walk, if you know what I mean. There's still more to walk. Maybe we need to start jogging, right? Or sprinting, or whatever you want to call it.
I'm a runner, so I'm all about that.
We should be sprinting at this point because we're so far behind. We need to catch up. That's my opinion. Yeah. That's what I've learned from Dani from this year. Yeah. One of the things.
Well, I appreciate that.
And that she's never going to a NASCAR race again. I've learned that. So
no, I think I'm good on. I think I'm good on the NASCAR race.
Okay,
but I appreciate that answer. And mine wasn't as serious as yours, but I've learned to laugh with you, which is great. Like that's I think something
You'll catch up on the beer drinking, maybe.
I'm not a beer drinker, so
probably not.
You're a professional. So
I don't think I'm going to be a professional beer drinker.
Okay.
But I'll drink some wine. I'll drink some wine with you.
But it has been fun, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
And we got, we have some exciting guests coming up in season 2.
We do.
Some big ones.
And that's a great announcement. That's a great announcement. And 2, we're going to have a season 2.
Yeah. We got a lot of new sponsors. We have people knocking down the door. So again, we're going to fill up for season 2. So I think you need to, if you're interested, give us an email to where, Dani?
info@parkingtalk.com.
Yeah.
Oh, you're surprised that I knew that.
Is it safe to say that other people should email you about topics that they want covered and other things that they're interested in hearing you talk about?
We still want to go back to the brand. I got to get people's opinion on that. Are we really B2B?
We actually really need a professional, though. We're not professional in the brand loyalty. We're not marketing professionals. So I think that please, if you are a marketing professional in the industry, email us. We would love to hear from you. We would love to have you on the show. And please email us your topics, what you're interested in hearing. I know that, John and I ramble on about a lot of things, and that's fun, but we look forward to season 2 and bringing you guys some really insightful stuff. I have
to say, this has been fun.
It's been a lot of fun.
Surprised. I wasn't expecting some of those
questions. I'm not sure how to take that, John.
But I know you prepared. Right? You probably prepared pretty.
Bit.
That's what So Seth, our producer, was like, "This guy's a good guest. Like, he's a good guest." So I actually have a new idea. So
what's your idea?
Well, Dani and I were traveling. I mean, a lot. We couldn't connect to get these shows going. So I think we have a new guest host.
If you think Joe Leung doesn't travel as much as we do,
no, I know he does. But it's like rolling the dice. Maybe we're all going to wind up. We're not always going to be traveling at the same time, right?
I think Joe's on the road more than we are combined.
He is, for sure. But there's going to be that one moment where
one day
where he's here and we're not. What do you think?
Oh, I'm for it.
Okay, he's taking over your spot. What do you think?
Actually, he's taking over your spot.
Okay. Whoa. Okay.
How would I take over no one's spot?
No, I'm okay with that.
So actually, we're just going to hire a third host.
Right, third host.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So last question.
Oh.
If you're in my shoes, what would you have asked yourselves that I didn't ask you?
Oh God, Joe, your questions were way too good.
I know what I would ask.
Oh, God.
When are you hanging it up after 29 years?
29 years.
27? 23?
In parking?
No, so you're asking. I'm at you.
I was asking you. When are you going to hang it up? Yeah.
Yeah. When are you going to retire?
Yeah. When are you going to retire?
Not anytime soon.
That's what I expected.
We still got a lot of work to do here.
Yeah.
So
you're growing something great.
I'm still as excited as I was when I started. So
29 years ago.
And I still have that same passion to grow the business. That's what I do.
Do you see that's amplified? I mean, you obviously had this when you worked for various operators, that desire to grow and to win business. Do you see that amplified now that it's your business?
I have the same passion as I do.
Okay.
With that, I really do, and it's intense.
Yeah,
it's even more intense now than it's ever been.
Yeah,
I
understand.
Got to chill out sometimes.
My question to you, Joe, is that if you could rename our show, what would it be?
Ooh. Oh yes,
Ooh, that's a good one.
Between the Spaces with Dani and John.
What do you think, Dani?
Mic drop. Yeah.
Between the Spaces with Dani and John. What do you think, Seth?
If we do it, we have to record an episode between
two parking spaces. Yeah. That's a great idea. It's the equivalent of Coffee and Cars, the Jerry Seinfeld, or what is it? Coffee with...
Between Two Ferns.
Between Two Ferns. And then Jerry Seinfeld has the... Coffee with Comedian and Cars or something like that.
Yeah.
So
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
On location.
Yeah. That could get good.
Yeah.
We traveled to different.
Good.
We traveled to. Oh, that could get good. All right.
Well, congratulations to both of you for 10 episodes. It's been amazing. It's been educational. 10? It's been fun. And I think it's what the industry needs. And I'll speak for the industry. Sorry, industry. But we're collectively excited for season 2 and to see what happens then.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
and
Joe.
Thank you, Joe, for coming on. And yeah, we're excited. We have some serious guests coming on. Not just parking either.
Nope.
I'll leave that teaser out there.
We appreciate you, and we will definitely see you in season 2.
All right.